Sigma INFJs are misunderstood because of their detached and passive answers, but in actuality, people have no idea what Sigma INFJs are thinking. What goes on in a Sigma INFJ's brilliant mind? These are 10 examples of a Sigma INFJ's genius. Number 10, I choose the procedures I have. The capacity of the Sigma INFJs to choose what has an impact on them is another example of their intelligence. The Sigma INFJ cannot pretend to be able to steady itself in the face of powerful currents, and this is the pinnacle of their resistance. These highly emotional people never actually shatter, they merely waver. They accomplish this by having an internal dialogue, especially when resolving issues, since they have the capacity for reflection and introspection. The emotional toughness of the Sigma INFJs is astounding. To get advice from their higher selves, they even converse with themselves. This does not necessarily imply that they are crazy. Speaking aloud or whispering to oneself helps one develop self-control, a quality required for intellect. People may accomplish this as a consequence even during busy work hours, or the most difficult times of their careers. INFJ Sigmas are the last to give up. When under duress, they don't just engage in any combat, they pick them carefully. Number 9, what more need to I say regarding Sigma? INFJs are unable to help but go from one subject to another, always asking themselves, what else should I talk about? It's no surprise that they are the ideal examples of an intellectual, as in this appears to relate to the prior issue. Therefore I should talk about this too. INFJs sometimes struggle to articulate themselves orally, but their extensive knowledge enables them to discuss topics that most people are unaware of. Since they have so many ideas, they already struggle to organize and explain them. In order to avoid embarrassing themselves or confusing their listeners, they ensure that they are psychologically prepared to facilitate their thoughts before attempting to outline or present them to the group during talks. They are frustrated by the fact that they have a lot to say, since it requires more work to get their argument over to the majority. Number 8, what else can I learn about the Sigma INFJ's dislike of simple explanations and cursory responses, which makes others feel under pressure to appear intelligent around them. Since they can't manage their thought-provoking themes and follow-up questions, shallow individuals find it difficult to converse with Sigma INFJs. The Sigma INFJ's unquenchable thirst for knowledge and awareness can either offend or impress others. It compels them to question established paradigms that the majority of people have adhered to for many years or even centuries. They examine the fundamental reasons rather than accepting everyone's reasoning, and instead challenge it. They also like learning about various cultures and languages, as well as odd art. They can probe into the brains of others on the internet, which allows them to ask pointed questions that help them get to the heart of a problem. They also like discovering new hobbies and taking things apart to figure out how they all fit together. Number 7, am I expressing it correctly? Some individuals may come off as intellectual because they aren't bothered with being right or logical. Instead, they are just interested in sounding and projecting an air of intelligence. Sigma INFJs, on the other hand, are astute observers who, in addition to considering their opinions before expressing them, have a strong memory for the words they read and hear, which helps them spot inconsistencies in other people, and a profound understanding of nature, which helps them notice changes in their surroundings quickly. As they have an acute awareness of patterns, their observations are also mirrored in their creativity. As a result, they are typically praised for their understanding skills and empathy. Based on the behavior patterns they have long since seen, they are able to precisely understand how someone feels and thinks. How else does being perceptive and introspective help a Sigma INFJ? Number 6, is this unapologetic Sigma INFJ's immersion in isolation something I have to cope with? They assert without apology that testing may be the most creative kind of mental exercise. They can endure extended periods of isolation without interruptions, noise, or external stimulation. They are at peace with their soul since they have spent the most of their time with themselves. Nonetheless, they need a lot of time to recharge and rest. Yet few are aware that the capacity of Sigma INFJs to be content in their own business shows when other brilliant individuals are unhappy with their friendships, professions, and sexual relationships. They are illuminated by their own brilliance, intelligence, and radiance. The relationships with oneself come first for Sigma INFJs, who also allow their compassion to seep into their social interactions. Because of this, individuals engage in less socializing and instead spend more time thinking, contemplating, and following their interests. Number 5, is this actually true, or am I simply expressing my emotions? Sigma INFJs are emotional, but this does not prevent them from viewing situations objectively. They believe it is crucial to avoid letting their compassion cloud their judgment, especially if they hold a higher-ranking position where their choices can have a significant impact on an organization's success. However, since Sigma INFJs are logical and unbiased, some people think of them as good, grounded, and transparent leaders who analyze their options honestly and suppress their emotions in the interest of the group as a whole. What other benefits might objectivity bring to your decision-making? Number 4, what if this or that occurs? Being a fighter simply serves to highlight how intelligent Sigma INFJs are. Geniuses like Sigma INFJs worry about a lot of things because it helps them psychologically get ready for any potential risk or unpleasantness. It helps people get ready physically, psychologically, and financially for anything that could occur at any time. INFJs spend time worrying about things that other people don't notice or care about, which is why they are more prepared than everyone else. They were able to avoid unfavorable outcomes because of their intuition, which allowed them to spot clues in their environment that others missed. Simply put, Sigma INFJs are always worried because they are aware of prospective risks and feel that they must be ready for everything. They thus put great effort into coming up with strategies to prevent encountering the actual issue. Number 3, how would others perceive the Sigma INFJ's ability to put themselves in others' shoes and see the world through their eyes is another indication of their brilliance. And because Sigma INFJs have a high level of empathy, especially for those close to them, they astound people with their rationality and comprehension rather than being blinded by their self-centeredness and one-sided judgment. People will notice their empathy even if they try to tone it down and keep it understated, because only a few can genuinely care to justify others' standards and emotions on their behalf. As a Sigma, they take into account the perspectives and feelings of others before acting, before making a decision, and they take into account the well-being and mental conditioning of others. How does being a strong empath benefit you, INFJ? Number 2, perhaps they are correct and I am mistaken. The defining characteristic of INFJ's open-mindedness is their natural curiosity and never-ending need for knowledge, which practically everyone they interact with during conversations can attest to. In an effort to better grasp what other people are saying, they make an effort to listen to them and even put themselves in their shoes. Instead, they don't impart their own particular views on anyone. What if I was mistaken the entire time? They ponder. As a result, even when they are certain in their findings, they won't be scared to be open to more realistic viewpoints and let people challenge them because they won't stand to lose anything. If people assess if the novel notion is true, they will be shielded from persuasion and won't risk losing their minds. Number 1, are I intelligent enough? The fact that geniuses like Sigma INFJs will never accept their brilliance speaks something about them. It is intelligent to be humble. Intelligence also includes the capability to second-guess one's decisions and views, whereas less informed and capable people frequently overestimate their initiative and mental power. Those with wisdom, like Sigma INFJs, are far more conscious of their limitations By being aware of their limits, people may surround themselves with people who are more knowledgeable or smart than they are, allowing them to daily gain from their experience. As a result of this practice, they are more likely to grow and develop as people and to want to learn more. They can challenge their own viewpoints until they can back them up with indisputable evidence. Also, they disagree with others who praise their intelligence and accomplishments in academia or the workplace. Sigma INFJs just recognize their shortcomings, which makes them feel as though they have fallen short of their goals. But do people mistake their humility for a lack of self-worth if they are a Sigma INFJ? Sigma INFJs don't need to demonstrate their intelligence to others, since all of the ideas they have are a part of their own inner universe, and they only share them with people who can completely understand them. Do you too think like this? How do they influence your decisions and behaviors each day?